Hello and welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I am Mark Storrs, and with me as always is...
I am Chris Carnicelli.
And...
Rob Morphy.
We have a very special intro for this episode. It is Christopher's birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Chris.
Hey, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, 27 years old.
I know.
I'm 16.
Yep. Don't look a day over 12.
Negative
No.
16.
Right.
You still look like a little Italian girl.
Yeah.
You're holding your looks.
No.
Oh, if I shaved, you'd
If you
be like
shave, a tiny Ukrainian or Italian girl.
He is my favorite zygote.
He is.
Hands down.
Yeah. Yeah, so our very own Christopher.
I'm gonna do it.
He had his rotation around the sun. Here's to many more to you, good sir.
Happen. Let's hope.
Yeah, and there it is. So everyone go on
Hey,
social
thanks.
medias 2 weeks after his birthday and be like,
True.
hey, Chris, happy birthday.
But you know,
Well,
better late
yeah.
than never.
I was telling Rob on the way here, as we actually picked Chris up, that I'm dumb, and for some reason I believe his birthday is in the summer. I think because one year we celebrated your birthday like at an off time. Was it near in the
One
summer?
time we
maybe?
did, because my sister's birthday is in January. One time we fucking gave up because the winter was so bad, and we just celebrated it like in the summer.
Yeah, and
we're
from
like,
now-
fuck it, let's do the birthday party.
Yeah, and from now on, I'm
Yeah.
just like Chris was born on July 4th. He is America.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
He's
America.
America's
I'm
baby.
hands across America.
He is. He totally
I'm
is.
all hands.
You are all
Oh
hands,
God! Wait, no, I'm
Chris.
not. I'm really not all hands. I take that
Oh,
back.
that's funny. Hellerspace.com. We recently launched 5 new T-shirt designs.
Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah.
Check that out there.
a lot.
By the time this goes up, the 35% off sale will be gone. But stick around for the next month, March, I believe, right? January, February. Yeah, March.
That's how it works.
Yeah, there will be another sale. Also, too, we recently discovered that the classic T-shirts, there are other T-shirts besides the classic tee. So the classic T-shirt's $13, but I think for like $15 you get a premium.
Yeah, there's premium. I don't really know the depth.
Yeah, I've heard it is of the softest cotton, and I'm not saying that to encourage people to get it, but literally a buddy of ours who got it was like gushing that she stole all her boyfriend's shirts and lives in them.
Really? All right.
We just figured this out though.
Yeah, we're slow.
Like last
Are we
week.
I knew
supposed to
I
know
knew
our
that
own
months
merch?
ago.
Did you really?
When you click, it says Classic Tan Premium, and they look a little different, like in the neck. But I didn't know.
You know what I
the
didn't know
difference
until
was.
last night too? That you can get different size stickers and magnets.
Yeah.
How was I to know?
I
mean, by looking, like, basically just fucking looking is
Yeah.
how I was to
No.
know.
Yeah,
but I
I
never
don't
really
know.
looked before now.
I discovered it because a listener asked about like, well, you know, like what kind are these like weird flimsy like T-shirts? And then I was looking, I'm like, oh my God, there's other types of T-shirts here that we can get.
Yeah.
I've been getting the classics all
I
along,
just
and I could have been
assumed you
getting the
knew.
premiums.
right? And
I
they're
had no
still
idea.
on sale during the sales, too.
Yeah, everything's still on sale. So check that out there. Patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 will get you a shout out. $5 will get you a shout out and some bonus audio. This week we have some shout outs to do. Michael R.J.
RJ.
Perfect.
Thank you, Michael.
Iowa Grandma, a.k.a. patron number 145.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
It's like an old episode of The Prisoner.
Yeah. And finish it off here with Kayla Peters.
Perfect.
Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you all so
Or
very
Ms.
much
Peters.
for your contributions. They are greatly appreciated. Also, too, before we get started with this episode, wanted to give another shout out to one of our patrons who is currently leading an expedition on the Solomon Islands at ForgottenFortress.com, Mr. Nicolaus Cox.
Oh shit.
I know, it's
Yeah.
so badass. I mean, he might as well be on Skull Island fucking studying the natives that fucking captured Kong.
And he confirmed that we did say his name correctly.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
Dope.
which is super dope. But yeah, check
The
his
dope
website
shit.
out again. That is ForgottenFortress.com. And when he sent us a message and he was like, oh, yeah, I'm leading an expedition. I'm like, what do you mean you're leading an... And he's obviously an archaeologist. I just was like, wow, this guy's like an Indiana
What the
Jones.
No, I
Fuck.
mean, that's some heavy-duty shit when
Yeah.
you're leading an expedition.
for real.
Like, who gets to say that in life? That is... It just made me
right.
realize what a fucking failure I am in every way. But I'm so proud of you, Nicolaus.
Nope, same here, because I'm like, wow, we are at Chris's table, laughing about pronunciations on the internet.
Yes, we are.
From some random YouTube channel, and this guy's out there doing fucking...
Leading. I've never led
leading
anything.
expedition.
No. I haven't led 3 people to a fucking supermarket.
You've led 2 of us, though, through 100 some odd episodes.
Wow.
You've been doing good.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that for me, buddy.
Yeah.
You
are.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah.
But anyway, good fucking luck to Nicholas, who is not only doing that, but also looking into some hairy hominid reports from World War II, where in these primate-like creatures apparently attacked some Japanese soldiers.
Yeah.
So he's doing some super legit research and also taking the time to look into some of the more obscure stuff, which of course we love. So we can't wait to hear how this goes, and best of luck, man.
And again, that is ForgottenFortress.com. He's got some cool stuff there. Check that out. I believe there are ways in the future that you can support his expeditions, which is kind of dope. So check that out. Thank you, Nicolaus. Best of luck to you, good sir. Onward, upward, and Godspeed.
Yeah, and take your malaria meds. Just
Yeah.
because it's important.
I mean, he went to college. He's an archaeologist. Of course he's going to do that. That would be something that we would do.
I definitely did not take any malaria medicine.
No, I know you didn't. That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah.
You went to South Africa, right? And you were just like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't care about,
fuck it.
malaria and shit.
No, that was not what happened.
You jumped into the malaria river.
I did. I swam
It
naked.
said malaria,
Why?
and there was an arrow.
Arrow right in.
And you jumped into that point.
Dinky first. Actually, I have a stupid blood disorder where I can't take malaria medicine because it makes my blood all fucked up, makes me bleed out. It's just...
We have the
You
same
get
blood disorder.
Hanta if you take fucking
Yeah,
malaria.
I was fucking quarantined for having... what was it? Not Hanta.
You made it sound like Ebola.
No, it's a level 4 virus. Why am I talking about Hanta, Lassa, Ebola, and the one with the M? Why am I drawing a blank?
Malaria?
God damn it. We just talked about
I
malaria.
don't know level 4 viruses.
Yeah, we're not
in the
virus
middle of this
experts.
fucking pod...
You'll figure it out.
I'm
Don't
gonna
worry.
fucking
You guys
say it.
know what are the common level 4 viruses?
Yeah, one of the essential, like the Beatles. You got to know them all.
Jesus. Ringo,
It is
Paul,
the
and John.
Ringo of the viruses,
All
granted,
right,
but still.
all right.
Fine. All right. Well, you're alive. We're alive. Congratulations. Take your medicines when you
Are
need
you?
to. We are. I know we were questioning reality last
Yeah.
episode. I get it. Chris was not impressed with me at all, but that's okay because I'm always impressed with Chris, especially on his birthday.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a lot of deference
Did you just
today.
guilt me?
No. I didn't
You
guilt
just made me guilty.
That didn't make you guilty.
Yeah.
You're making yourself guilty. This week, Christopher and Robert, we are talking about Death from Above, the tragic case of the incredible melting man.
Indubitably.
Oh, shit, all right.
There are some photos to go along with this that we will be posting. They are not of the melting man.
No, they are not.
They are photos, though, that got us removed from the Google AdSense program because Google doesn't know what to do with their ads and how to place them. It's a whole thing.
Perfect.
We've talked about this off pod.
Yeah.
I don't care about Google AdSense anymore.
No.
So whatever. Let's get started with. Sometime in the spring of 1946, a farmer from a small Brazilian village was returning from a day-long fishing trip when he noticed a bizarre bright orb hovering above his home. Before he even had a chance to react, the unfortunate fellow was suddenly struck by a beam of white-hot light, which had an effect on his physiology that only could be labeled as ghastly.
Horrific.
Ghastly.
Appalling.
All right.
Yeah.
No bueno.
No, bad. I mean, it is called The
Anti-bueno.
Incredible Melting Man.
Yeah, no, that sort of telegraphs
So,
what we're doing.
We
here.
kind of give a little bit in the title what's going to happen to this guy.
No, I mean, you kind of know, but, maybe that was a bad call on my part.
It's okay. No, you know what, though? This harkens back to classic cases that were done on AmericanMonsters.com and now Cryptopia.us. So this is kind of near and dear to my heart.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
the fact that I had to answer so many emails from Google AdSense because they're like, you got to take that image down and we can't have ads on that page. All because of one little melting picture.
And it wasn't even, it was like,
One little
They literally
melting
cut our entire AdSense program.
wow.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what, guys? I'm not... And you can't call anybody.
No.
No.
You can't talk to
Yeah,
a person
No,
about it.
there's no person
You can't
to
call
talk
Dear
to.
Google. Dear Google.
Dear Google. You can't. You just can't
The
do it.
F.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just start addressing random snail mail to the Google.
Yeah.
Dear
the
Googlers.
Google.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Robert, let's kick this off. Are you going to paint us a picture?
As always,
Yes.
I'm actually not going to be painting a picture.
How dare you?
What?
We're in Brazil.
What the fuck are you going to do there?
Usually
All
I
right,
tell you about
Brazil.
the rolling hills and the salt
nestled
peaks,
things.
nestled and widgeted into things. I'm not going to do that. You know Brazil by now. What I will say is that not being
Fair enough.
fluent in Portuguese, I will be fucking everything up all the time. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of places. We did our best to figure out how to pronounce them before the pod.
There's a little bit of practice.
Yeah, there's a little bit of
there's a little
practice.
There's a little conference.
So,
We'll
so
see.
we're just going to do our goddamn best. And by that, I mean, I'm going to fuck it up and you'll just forgive me, I hope.
And you know what? To all of our Brazilian listeners out there,
You know we love you.
and we do have listeners actually that have helped us, have corrected us before.
Right.
So, if you're familiar with the language and the pronunciation, by all means, feel free to please drop us a DM to let us know.
Yep, direct them
So-
towards Rob or Mark.
Just ping to me.
Chris gives
I'll
no
pass them
fucks.
on.
Yeah, not me.
No, Chris doesn't care.
He's fuck free.
Unfortunately.
But I will say this also: if you're a time traveler, feel free to come here right now and tell me how to say these things before we start.
Oh, look, no one's here.
You didn't even give him a third of a second. You
Because-
had no faith in time travel.
You know how this shit works.
But one time it will work.
Okay, fine.
It's going to blow your tits off.
It
Yeah.
will. They're already blowing off.
All right,
They're
so I'm
gone.
just going to fuck them up because thank you, no one showed up.
All right, there you go.
Good.
Perfect.
Okay,
Excuse our pronunciations.
thank you. Since the dawn of recorded history, human beings have had disturbing encounters with unearthly and as yet unidentified airborne objects. By and large, eyewitnesses to these bizarre events have remained physically, if not psychologically, unharmed, though some reports involve transitory after effects such as red eyes, swollen joints, burns, prickly sensations, nausea, and, in a few troubling cases, bloody anal discharges.
Oh,
man.
what?
The least popular side effect of a UFO encounter.
Yeah, I can see why.
But all the side effects of a UFO encounter could coincide with an STD, just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Just saying.
Wow. You're just opening up a whole Pandora's box of
bloody
ufological
anal
lore.
discharge, though?
I mean, or,
So
trauma.
you're saying psychological manifestations of loose folks that are having wild, unprotected sex, and they have encounters with these ethereal beings that we think are technology, but really are just judging orbs
I mean,
and saucers.
It was the 90s. We all got crabs at least twice. So, you
Did
know.
we?
Oh, so it was only me.
Did
Good.
we?
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
No, it clearly was. I know I literally said all bets were off in the 90s a couple pods ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Like gravity wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Fucks were off the table. But
Exactly. But hey, whatever.
did not have crabs.
All right, fine. Whatever.
I'm sorry you did.
I'll be over here in my crab corner.
Uncle Mark's Krabby Corner.
No, my wife is not going to appreciate that joke at all. And we're not cutting it.
I'm
because she
heaving.
doesn't listen.
God bless her.
No one tell her about that on social media.
The crab corner? Yeah. Oh, you better hope we don't have a 4th of July party at your house.
Oh, we will.
Because it's going to slip out.
It's okay. No big deal. No big deal. It's fun.
She's like, what are you talking about? I don't know.
Hey, whatever. Things happen.
Talk to your drunk husband who's walking slanted down the street.
All right, Jesus
right,
Christ, get
all right.
back to it.
Wow, all
Christ
right.
Almighty.
Anal discharges
All right, it
of a
happens.
bloody nature.
It happens.
But as disturbing as these cases are, they pale before arguably the most gruesome encounter with an unidentified flying object on public record. A terrifying event that is repugnant to the point of obscenity and has come to be known to Fortean investigators as the Arasari Guama incident. I hope I got that right.
I think you did.
On the evening of March 4th, 1946, 39-year-old Joao Prestes Filho was driving his friend Salvador dos Santos home in his horse-drawn cart. The pair decided to avoid the commotion of the Carnival Week festivities by spending a quiet afternoon fishing in Brazil's Tietê River. But when Filho dropped his mate off and wished him a good night, Salvador could never have imagined that this would be the last time he would ever see his friend alive.
Should have went to Carnival.
Should have gone to Carnival.
I mean, really.
I mean, come
That's
on.
why it's
Awesome
there.
dancing, great music.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Why would you
amazing
want to avoid
food
that?
and booze?
It's one of those things that you probably live in it, you're spoiled by it, and so you're like, fuck it. I want
Take
nothing
it
to
for
do with
granted, yeah.
Yeah.
If the three of us were there, we would be wearing stupid hats and dancing our tits off.
Yeah.
But Carnival.
Crabs.
Yeah. Oh, God damn
We
it.
would all get crabs.
You got to stop the crabs. I'm not into
In
it.
that situation, maybe you're right.
There you go. See? Fine.
I would certainly risk it.
Rob's in my crab corner.
Okay, fine. Enjoy your fucking.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
How
All
many
right.
people fit there? How dense is this?
There's room for one more if he's going to be cool, but he probably
Wow.
won't be.
That is the weirdest form of peer pressure I have ever seen employed.
That's a bullshit
That's just
situation.
ridiculous.
'Cause I don't want to be in the crab corner, but my friends are there.
But my friends are there, but I'm alone. But I don't want to be in
Yeah.
crab corner.
Whatever. Chris, Rob and I are dancing there with our hats on.
It's true.
I'll be like,
Yeah.
fuck, I
Our
guess
hats
I
are
gotta go
awesome.
to crab
Our hats
corner.
are dope.
Just come on. It's Carnival,
You guys
man.
suck.
You just use some shampoo and you're
Force
fine.
me in the crab
It's no
corner.
big deal. Whatever.
Wow. On his birthday, no less. Look what we've done.
Ah, jerks. Anyway.
All right, here we go.
Electricity. Ben Franklin's baby boy. Electricity had not yet made its way to the village of Arasari, Guama, where Philo lived with his wife and 5 children. So the rancher was alone as he drove his horse through the inky gloom. To make matters worse, this remote rustic community was all but deserted due to the carnival, which gave the scene an eerie, empty feeling.
Oh, no
You can just
electricity.
you hear the clop of the hooves,
Yeah.
the wheels like
The party
grinding on
in
the
the
rock,
background.
like a distant like
Yeah.
roar that kind of sounds like a gaggle of geese, but isn't comforting because it's too far away.
And you're just alone with no electricity.
And you think, all right, I'm freaking myself out. Nothing bad's going to happen until it does.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of their neighbors, Philo's family was off enjoying the celebration, and in their haste to get to the festivities, they accidentally left the patriarch of the family locked out of his own home. The ravenous angler could smell the dinner his wife had hastily prepared before her departure through the door, and in a fit of pique decided to break into his own house.
They went to party and locked him out?
They locked him out.
Apparently.
And here he is. Tough day of fishing. Probably
Yeah.
a rather pleasant day of fishing.
Right, and he's
but
hungry.
still, he's
but he
hungry.
can smell the food. Oh, man, you're
yeah.
shit. All right.
The keyless Philo first stabled his horse for the evening, then managed to climb through an open window. But as soon as he was inside his home, he was suddenly overcome by the sensation that someone or something was watching him. Trying to ignore the unnerving feeling, Philo went about the business of warming the fish left in the pot and heating up some water with firewood in order to take a bath. The angler, finally overwhelmed with the sense that he was somehow being watched, leaned out an open window, but could see nothing in the formless dark. Almost certainly chiding himself for being so paranoid, Philo happened to glance into the sky and was shocked to see a bizarre orb hovering above him. It would be at this moment that the ordinary events of the evening would take a horrific turn that could have been culled from the pages of a classic EC comic.
Oh, we're going old school.
Okay.
Nice.
It's going to get nasty. Without warning, the fisherman was struck by a beam of intensely hot, yellowish light emanating from the object above his home. The searing sensation was so excruciating that he immediately dropped to his knees and covered his face with his hands, suddenly realizing that the skin beneath his beard was literally in flames.
Oh, shit.
Philo felt as if his entire body had caught fire. He rolled on the floor in agony, frantically beating out the flames that were threatening to engulf his entire head and severely burning his hands in the process. Though the burst only lasted a moment before it and the glowing object vanished completely, the anguish this Brazilian farmer had endured seemed, to him, to have been interminable. His nostrils were filled with the nauseating scent of burnt flesh, and his hands were all but useless. But Philo managed to get to his feet and pull a blanket around his shoulders. When he stumbled to the door, he found the latch down, but his fingers had gone numb, so he was forced to use his teeth to lift the hook.
Oh, Jesus.
Your hand's so
Teeth.
fucked.
Oh, God.
You got to bite up a little hook and eye socket. Oh, that
I've
sucks.
definitely singed my fingertips bad enough where you're like, and you can't fucking use them for like a day or two. And you
Which
gotta get
sucks. I know that
blistered and
feeling.
shit. But that's
That's
a whole new level of fuckery right there.
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
Bloodying his naked feet on the sharp rocks of the dark, unpaved road, the shrieking burn victim desperately searched for help, walking as fast as he could to his sister Maria's house, which was situated near the local church. Maria was mortified by the sight of her burnt and bleeding brother, and she immediately brought him inside and laid him down on her bed. That's love.
Yeah, shit.
Philo explained to his sister that he had been burned by an unknown object, and she immediately sent for the police. Within minutes, the chief of police, Joao Melaqueus, I think I got that right, arrived at Maria's home and began questioning the scarlet-skinned victim regarding what had happened. Philo described the incident down to the last detail, but the no doubt perplexed officer could only respond that his hands were tied in the matter as there was no human to blame for what had happened because his attacker had, and I quote, not been of this world.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a police officer, what do? You shout to the sky, hey, fucking
Get down here.
come here.
Yeah.
We got a
No,
suspect.
you.
Yeah, like what do? I mean, we talk about this all the time. Like when you call the police, if shit happens, like what are they gonna do?
I know. I mean, I get
They
like,
can't go arrest the Pascagoula abductors. Be
if
like, yeah,
you're
get in
in a
here.
situation, you're right, where like say there's something around your house, maybe you call the cops and say you think it's an intruder, and you don't make yourself look crazy, even though you know it's a 8-foot tall hairy man monster,
Right.
Because you and your family might be in jeopardy. But in almost every other circumstance, it's a complete waste of time. Though I'm glad it happens because that's how these stories get out.
But you should still always call your local law enforcement. Just because
Oh,
you never
yeah,
know,
no,
man.
if you're injured or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, you don't call them for ghosts. They're not going to appreciate that shit. But, call them for like...
Call them occasionally because you think you have man-sized fucking rodents in your sister's attic and you're there with knives and your little nephew.
You could have... And again, you could have just called
I know.
me. I'm up the street from you. I could totally just come down and been like, well, I'll take care of this
I
rodent
would
for
kill
you.
Man
to hear that
rodents.
911 call. Because I understood how fucking flaky it was,
Yeah.
but there was genuine horror in the house that night.
Yeah.
Well,
But
remember,
I digress.
always call me. Always call
will.
Cousin Mark.
It happens.
All right.
Those holding vigil with their injured family member noticed that the condition of his exposed flesh had begun to worsen since his arrival at his sister's doorstep, and he had started to resemble what one eyewitness referred to as meat that had been allowed to boil for a while.
Ooh.
That's just icky.
Yeah.
Well,
And don't boil your meat, generally speaking. But that's another issue.
yeah.
Unless you're making a stew or something.
No,
I
we're
guess.
not going to talk about boiled meat. It's disgusting. Continue.
In 1997, Philo's nephew, a then 60-year-old Luis Prestes, who was 9 years old at the time of the incident, set the scene for UFO investigators Pablo Villarrubia Masao and Claudio Tsuyoshi Suenaga, again, doing my best, who had traveled to the region to reopen the fascinating case, stating, I was in the Arasari Guama when I learned that my uncle was dying at a relative's house. I wanted to go in, but I was forbidden since I was too young and his physical condition would have caused a traumatic impression.
Oh, this guy's just all fucked up.
Yeah. My father said that Joao was only burned from the waist up with the exception of the hair on his head.
Okay.
Interesting.
Weird.
His beard doesn't catch fire. His hair doesn't catch fire. His shirt doesn't catch fire.
Yeah.
Skin.
But all the flesh that was basically
Okay.
hanging out the window and
Right.
struck by the beam is fucked.
I got a couple ideas. All right.
Also in 1997, the then 92-year-old Virgilio Francisco Alves, Philo's second cousin, agreed with Luisa's assessment and helped to illustrate the events of that fateful eve for Pablo and Claudio. And this is what he said. My cousin Emiliano Prestes, who was my neighbor, called me over. When I got to Maria's house, I found Joao Malaquias, the sheriff, speaking with Joao, the other Joao, the man that actually...
We got two Joaos here, yeah.
He was in bed and having problems using his tongue. His skin, which was fair, was toasted reddish, as if he'd been roasted. His hands and face had the worst burns. The hands were twisted. His hair didn't burn, nor did his feet, nor clothing. He was only burned from the waist up. His feet were torn up from running on barefoot on the sharp rocks. It became clear to all those present that if their wounded relative did not quickly receive proper medical attention, he would not be long for this world. So the family wisely decided if there was anything to be done for Philo, it would be at the hospital. Louise recounted the moment that they took his uncle away. It would be the last time he ever saw him. I managed to see my uncle when they moved him from the house to take him to Santana de Paranabia by truck, where the nearest hospital was located. I remembered that the sheets covering him were blackened, perhaps by the burns on his body. His appearance, according to my father, who escorted him to the hospital, was truly ruinous. Wow.
Ruinous.
That adjective for your fucking physical condition.
Yeah, ruinous.
Just the worst. The fucking worst thing I've ever fucking read.
Yeah.
He had serious burns all over his body. His flesh was dark and he presented, on a positive note, no other bodily injuries. You know, like that wasn't
Other
enough.
than that, yeah.
So that was the 9-year-old kid that wasn't allowed in, but
Right.
he caught the glimpses. They were carting him off to the
Yeah, I
hospital.
mean, except that from the waist up, every nerve in his body is screaming for vengeance. But still, yeah, all right, yeah.
Upon arrival, Philo was admitted into the hospital immediately, where the baffled doctors, including physician Luis Caliguri, were unable to diagnose what had happened to the tragically maimed father and husband. They had never seen a burn victim that only had specific parts of his body affected while the clothes and hair adjacent remained unmarked. They'd also never seen a burn victim whose symptoms continued to deteriorate at such a rapid, yet somehow unbearably deliberate rate. In 1974, investigator Fernando Grossman interviewed eyewitnesses to the appalling event, including former Army medic and orderly Horace Gomide, who cared for Philo during his final days. Gomide claimed that he did his best to comfort the swiftly deteriorating Philo during his last few agonizing hours, during which he seemed to be decomposing while still alive. The still mortified orderly described the ill-fated fisherman's final horrifying days, during which chunks of flesh sloughed off his arms, exposing portions of white bone and sinewy tendon.
Oh, God. He's literally... All right. Yeah. Melting, man.
Yeah, it was telegraphed. Now you know.
I know, but the way you write it, though, it's just so fucking dirty.
I promise you,
It's gross.
it gets so much worse.
Okay, goddamn.
Perfect.
So much fucking worse.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Thanks.
Incredible
this
melting.
is great.
You know, it's not you. It's not the incredible melting Chris. So
No, not at all.
happy fucking
No,
birthday.
but it is the gift I hoped for.
I mean, you're an artist. You could have drawn him a picture. You could have given him a gift card.
This was not actually intended to be Chris's gift. This was intended to be our pod for the night.
Because we all thought his birthday was in the summer. Because he celebrated it once 10 years ago in the summer. And we were all were
No, you
fucked.
did.
And he has extraordinarily dumb friends.
As cited.
You can make it
by-
up tomorrow if you show up.
I've already got a babysitter in line. Don't worry.
Yeah, lamp.
My
buy
wife
your
needs to
lamps.
buy lamps. And I got to install a vanity on fucking Sunday.
No, you're
Vanity.
right. Buying lamps with your wife beats your friend's birthday every time. This ostensibly excruciating process also afflicted the victim's head. Doctors, nurses, and what few family members could bear to stay and watch steadfastly maintained their vigil while Philo's face was literally falling to pieces.
Oh, God.
One by one, his ears, nose, lips, cheeks, and finally even his eyelids were said to have slowly peeled off his face, clinging to long, slender strands of skin before falling onto the bed in moist puddles of blood, pus, and putrefied flesh.
Oh, God, all I can think of is it
Yeah,
just...
no, it got worse. You're right.
Dude, it's a Cannibal Corpse. It's like their new live record cover, just a face fucking...
I'm surprised they didn't sing a song about him at some point.
I'm pretty sure that the moist puddles of blood, pus, and putrefied flesh...
Moist puddles of blood, petrified blood.
It's definitely a Cannibal Corpse song.
It
If
really-
not,
it should be.
they can write it and they can credit me for it.
It's perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. You
No,
like
I mean,
that?
even though I wrote the words, credit mark, please.
Yeah, fuck you, it's mine. How about that? Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
Run with it.
Yeah, fuck you, pay me. All right. So, yeah, that's terrible, man. It's fucking literally falling, like Ebola type shit almost.
But worse.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
you,
No,
actually, it's more like
that's different,
Like,
what
it's
he's-
more like leprosy, really.
imagine like quick acting leprosy.
Yeah.
So if it was Ebola-y, like where it hits you quick, takes care of your body, and
Ebola-y.
just blow. And then all of a sudden, you know, your skin is like Chris said with Raiders of the Lost Ark, fucking hard wax in a fucking microwave.
All right.
And it just blew.
God.
Gone.
Perfect.
All right.
Ironically, Philo's hair and clothes were said to have remained undamaged during the whole vile affair. And even more astonishingly, the man himself was said to have been in no physical pain throughout this terrible ordeal.
Weird.
Amazed witnesses even claimed that, despite the tremendous physical damage being wrought on his body, Philo continued to chat with the iron-stomached Gomide and others until the soft tissue connecting his lower jaw to his skull disintegrated, leaving behind a grotesque, dangling maw incapable of speech.
Oh, God. So he's like, hey, guys, how's everyone doing tonight? And he's
Yeah,
just fucking...
so what are we doing tonight?
looks like, like fucking Slim Goodbody.
Like,
He's
like
well,
fucking Dr. Tongue from the beginning of Day and Dead.
Yes. Oh, my God.
yeah.
Yes.
Just that fucking dangly nightmare.
God, does anybody want to go to Carnival? And his face is just falling apart. You're like, ugh.
And he's not in pain, and he's just trying to have a
Yeah.
conversation. And clearly, no one's giving him a fucking mirror. Though you think when your nose falls off, you might notice that. But maybe he was totally
No.
numb to it. Maybe he had no idea. Maybe he's like, oh, I'm numb now. I'm the pain's done. I'm in the hospital. Everything's going to be cool. And everyone's around him, talking to him, trying to make him feel good, trying not to look at him. And he's like, hey, it's
Just
great,
shit's
guys. It's
falling
all
off.
good. It's all good. And everything's like,
Well, dude, if your nerve endings are gone, if this
then
beam did something where
you would have no.
you're not gonna
idea,
feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was obviously in excruciating pain at
His
first.
fucking
but
lower jaw fell off though.
That's. Needless to say, most of Philo's relatives were unable to remain with their loved one during the grisly final stages of his life. But Gomide managed to endure until the very end, stating that the final request that the patient made was for a glass of water, and clearly he didn't ask for it. So maybe it was written down. Maybe he.
But he's got no jaw. What do you pour it
I know
into?
you just poured down the whole.
Oh, would you do that for me?
Yeah.
I would do it for you.
Thanks.
But I wouldn't do it for Chris.
That's not true.
It's true.
We'd all pour
I
Chris
wouldn't do it.
some water in his mouth hole.
He would just hate us. Like right now, how he hates us.
Yeah, no, I do. Shut the fuck up. Get to the story.
I would do it for both of you.
Not long after, sometime between 3 and 4 a.m. on March 6th, 1946, Joao Prestes Philo expired, and at a loss as how to explain what had happened, Dr. Caliguri, it's G-I-U, I'm doing the best I can, officially listed the cause of death as cardiac collapse and generalized first and second degree burns. I think it goes beyond that.
Sounds like an understatement.
Yeah,
I mean, of course your heart's going to give out when you fucking have a complete physical meltdown.
Literally.
Yeah.
But, what's the doctor to do? I mean, he doesn't know.
You can't say he fucking melted before our eyes.
I mean, you can because it happened.
Like his shit fell off.
His shit fell. That would be great if that was on the death
His
certificate.
shit just fell off.
There can be little doubt that this literally ill-starred angler left behind one of the most shocking mysteries of the 20th century. And bearing this legacy in mind, we are forced to ask the questions: who or what killed this beloved man of the land? And just as significantly, what possible motive could they have had to do so? Assuming that it was a motivated thing.
If it was like an actual like malicious intent. Right.
This has been the subject of controversy for decades. Scads of books dealing with ufological and paranormal phenomenon have told and retold the disgusting tale of the melting man with only small variances vis-a-vis the manner in which he managed to get into his home and the rate at which he decomposed. But the primary facts of the story remained largely unchanged. While many modern ufological enthusiasts judge that this is a clear-cut case of an extraterrestrial attack, ironically, most of the villagers did not suspect that Philo had been killed, inadvertently or otherwise, by a UFO. This was only 1946, after all, nearly a year before the Roswell crash, the Maury Island incident, and Kenneth Arnold's now famous report of saucers skipping over Mount Rainier. Events which ushered in a 76-year study of the UFO phenomenon. And the provincial citizens of the region had no context in which to consider this a UFO event. It just wouldn't even have been a thing. It wasn't even really in pop culture, especially not in a rural area like that.
And this is way before everything started. So.
Well, it's before the modern UFO
before
era
Mount Rainier,
started.
yeah.
And so that is one thing. I mean, eventually newspaper reports would filter down, but it wasn't no internet. Obviously, none of that.
Yeah. All right.
Some locals believe that Philo had been the victim of a supernatural attack that had come from the restless dead. But Virgilio claimed that most, including Philo himself, suspected that a less human and more demonic force was responsible for his swiftly deteriorating condition. And the entity most often cited was the notorious Boitata.
We're talking about the devil?
No. Well, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe one of its many carnations.
Chris, what's boitata?
What's boitata? Besides a drink, I would immediately have at a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, if someone's like, you want a boitata?
Do you want
Like,
a
yeah, I
boitata?
want two.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
I would. I mean, it sounds appealing.
Yeah.
It's not, as it turns out.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And we'll
I
find
just
out.
assumed
Exactly.
I
It
assumed
could
it was in the
be-
D&D monster manual, but okay.
Boitata, also originally known as the Biatata, the Bitata, and the Batato, as well as the Maboitata, is an old Tupi word, an extinct language once spoken by native Brazilians, which translates as fiery serpent. These oft-time malicious, self-illuminated specters are basically the South American equivalent of the nefarious European sprite known as the will-o'-the-wisp. though their reputation is far fiercer and much more malicious. According to the writings of the 16th century Canarian priest, and yes, when I wrote this article, I almost made him Canadian, not realizing that he was from the goddamn Canary Islands.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's Canarian? Clearly, I spelled that wrong before.
Oh, it's the old Canadian priests.
Yep, down in South America.
Yeah.
And once you hear his name, you'll be like, of course he's Canadian. Jose de Anchieta.
Yes, clearly from Ottawa, Canada. Yeah,
In 1946. yeah.
totally.
There were many accounts of the Boitada pursuing and even killing the native peoples who had wandered too far into their domain. So that means these predate the Spanish. Well, they don't predate because obviously the Canary Islands were conquered by Spain, and so it was part of the Spanish influence that saw it, but it was natives that first encountered it before the Spanish settlers came.
Totally.
Yep. Philo's cousin Virgilio claimed that this quote-unquote beast was responsible for his cousin's death as a similar entity had attacked Philo in his youth. He explained, I think that the Boitada was to blame, since it had attacked him once before. When Joao was a toprero, or cattle driver, he was still young and lived with his father in Arasaraguama. One day at sundown, as he led the donkeys over a hill, he saw a fire that fell from the sky, a fireball. He was near a chapel that had a cross, and he could feel the fireball passing him, almost knocking him down. Joao would tell me that at that spot you could sometimes see 10 to 12 balls emerging from the sky. Some were red, others moon-colored. Sometimes 5 or 6 of them would fall to the ground and explode. People would call them the Boitada lights.
Interesting. Maybe some type of possible, don't want to jump there yet, but portal.
Possible.
Just
You're not going to be the only one that thinks that.
Okay, cool.
Also, possibly, though it seems like it's way too dense to be this, ball lightning. But,
Well,
I mean, 75
Yeah.
ball, or 5 or 6, I'm exaggerating.
Now, when you got the Brian Boitano lights or whatever they're called.
Yes, it's
they're
exactly
there.
what they
Exactly.
are. Nailed it.
Oh my God.
These enigmatic entities were not only known for you're killing Chris on his birthday. Were not only known for tormenting anyone who lingered outside after dark, but also for fighting among themselves.
Ooh.
Eyewitnesses reported watching these flaming serpents colliding into one another and emitting a flurry of sparks, but not disappearing. That's the key. So, I mean, again, I'm not an expert on ball lightning or any type of fucking atmospheric shit, but it seems odd that these like balls with tails, which look like self-controlled comets or something,
Right.
would just bump, spark, back away, hit each other again.
That's weird, yeah.
I mean, it could be a natural phenomenon where some magnetic thing and they're just attracted to each other and then repel, and then they hit the ground, they explode. But it doesn't sound like any natural phenomenon I've ever heard of.
It sounds like it actually has like mass to it.
Something, yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Louise did not mention the infamous Boitada, but agreed that finding a more rational explanation of his uncle's demise would be a challenge, stating, "My father was a deputy policeman at Santa di Parnabia and requested the assistance of the forensic unit to research the case, but I don't know anything about the results. The fact is that nothing burned in the room where Joao was when the fire appeared. He had no enemies or anyone who'd be interested in doing such a thing to him. Even as he died, he repeated that the light had attacked him and that it was otherworldly." Louise even went so far as to speculate that his family might have fallen victim to something akin to a curse, retelling his father's all too close encounter with the Labiso men, or werewolf, in 1922,
Jesus Christ.
and claiming that his uncle had a run-in with an object eerily similar to the one that had taken Philo's life, stating, "Something equally scary happened to Emiliano Prestes, my uncle, and Joao Prestes' brother, a few months after his brother's tragic death." Emiliano was walking through the forest in Agua Padre when a fiery torch appeared above him, causing the terrified Emiliano to run to a canyon's edge where the thing fell on him. All he could do was kneel and pray for his life. He told us he felt an intense heat, but luckily the fiery torch moved away and vanished.
Huh.
So that's Philo's brother,
Right.
just a few months later, near, even though I didn't include it in this because it wasn't in the quote, but I remember this from the research, near the cemetery where his brother had been buried, being attacked or getting a flyby
Oh, weird.
from these weird things.
All right.
Louise speculated that if his family was not the nexus for these strange phenomenon, then perhaps it was the place that was to blame. And here's where we get to what Mark hinted at. He would go on to theorize that the Salroque region, which is located just 10 miles southwest of the Arasari-Guama, might be what he referred to as some fantastic window area through which an astonishing variety and quantity of anomalous phenomena gelled in our minds.
Oh, it's like a little miniature version of Skinwalker Ranch.
This is 97. He's a 60-year-old dude, and he is
Yeah.
fucking laying down some fucking just crazy fucking theories. Gotta love this dude. It's intriguing that Louise not only marked the spot as a potential location for a vortex or some equally inexplicable singularity that rendered the membrane between our world and another infinitely more bizarre one unnervingly thin, but that he also stated that these anomalous phenomenon gelled in our minds, indicating perhaps that he believed these anomalies might be both parapsychological and physical in nature. Others mentioned reports of fireballs and flying discs that had been seen over the cemetery where the farmer had been interred. Like, there's a whole long history of like grave diggers and other people reporting seeing just random silver hat-shaped UFOs and other glowing
Okay,
things.
all right, some sky shit.
Ghosts. So it's
Cool.
it really is a hotbed of weird shit. Plus, in the 90s, it was one of the highest concentration of chupacabra.
Oh, really?
Reports, that whole region.
That also though might play back into the whole window to a different world thing.
Exactly.
Could be. All right. Cool. I like this.
Right. It's an interesting place. Like I say, it might be a big, multiple acre Skinwalker Ranch, like you said.
Yeah.
While many assume Philo had been assaulted by a blazing serpentine entity, others believed that it was the work of the Asombracos, the ghosts of dead miners that lurk in the murky, long-closed caverns of the Morro Velho gold mine, which was founded in 1926 on the Sobao Mountain by a mysterious Canadian entrepreneur, General George Raston.
Oh, that sounds sketchy.
It is, and funnily enough, I couldn't get any more information.
Raston.
Just he's mysterious and Canadian, and apparently a military man.
Okay. Cool.
So, and it doesn't even offer why, like, that's important to it. Like, did he do shady shit? Nefarious experiments? Was he an alchemist? Was he an alkalite of Aleister Crowley? It doesn't say anything. It's just by a mysterious Canadian.
Yeah. Well,
I guess.
George Raston.
this is a call to all of our Canadian friends. Tell us about your mysterious people.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Your generals. Open gold mines in
Yeah,
Brazil.
Really.
Virgilio even proclaimed that he had seen these glowing apparitions, which were known by different designations depending on their characteristics, floating about with his very own eyes. And this is what he said. We also called those fireballs mothers of gold. There was also the golden lizard, an elongated tongue of flame that moved in a straight line slowly without making a sound. That reminds me of that beam fucking thing that came from V'ger in the original Star Trek, the motion picture.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was more like twinkly and psychedelic and lasery, but
No,
if
yeah.
it was like flame, like just walking around talking to you, being a dick, taking over random humanoids.
Yes,
Yeah.
hey.
But the golden lizard.
It's crazy.
Have you seen the
Golden
golden
lizard?
lizard? Oh, my friend.
Yeah. Jesus.
As prevalent as belief in the paranormal was in rural Brazil during the 1940s, there are those who have speculated that Philo was nothing more than the unfortunate victim of a tragic, yet nonetheless accidental death. In the 1960s, some investigators, most notably renowned Brazilian ufologist Dr. Walter Buehler, began to speculate that Philo's burns were likely caused by an accidental fire that was probably started by a candle. This hypothesis stands in direct contradiction with the investigation supervised by Police Chief Malchias, which indicated that nothing whatsoever had burned inside the farmer's home. It's worth noting that Dr. Buehler subscribed to the beliefs of a minority sect who contended that UFOs represented angelic visitations. And as such, his quote-unquote accidental fire theory might have been an attempt to steer any negative press away from UFOs, which he presumed were divine, ethereal beings.
Talking about the Ashtar Command.
Hey,
Yeah.
No.
Spaceships for Jesus.
You know.
well,
Fair.
you and Buehler would have a lot to talk
Yeah,
about.
There you go.
Others,
No.
primarily professional debunkers, have ignored the testimony of the locals and taken the stance that Philo was merely struck by lightning. While it seems feasible on its face, this premise patently ignores the fact that the event took place during the dry season in the area, and none of the numerous witnesses to Philo's condition made any mention of storms occurring until long after he arrived at the hospital. Therefore, lightning is not the likely culprit. There was an unseasonable storm that happened later that night, and a lot of occult occurrences locally, at least by local historians in that region, say that something weird happens, like you see that horse with the flaming head, I forgot
The
name of
Mula
the thing.
Cabeza.
Yes, and you gotta
shit.
you gotta hide your fingernails in your teeth or you're fucked.
We are going to have that story coming up. It's going to happen.
We've got story. They just have to be transcribed. That's why you haven't
We
done
have
it.
a
We've
good
got
friend of ours
story.
from Brazil.
Yes, a
who
good Brazilian
he
buddy
did some work for us.
He did a lot of legwork, and he's fucking awesome. And none of us can translate Portuguese, but he has read us some of the tales. And
Yes.
holy hot shit, they are brilliant.
Exactly.
So, thank you, Chris, with your uncannily good memory. A lot of times after events like these, they say a storm, even an unseasonable one that just ordinarily would not happen that time of year, strikes violently.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess if you want to be a skeptic, you could still say, well, there can be random lightning strikes hours before a storm.
Lightning, but lightning doesn't make you melt.
Well, lightning doesn't make, I don't know.
It doesn't make you
what
melt.
it probably
Not
doesn't.
the way it's described. That's my only problem.
It doesn't not
Fucking-
burn your hair. It doesn't not burn your clothes.
And it wouldn't
It
be
doesn't
just the top of
just-
your body.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe not though. I mean, it's not gonna. Wherever it hits you,
Yeah, I mean, we got to be honest here. We don't know a lot about it.
no. But
No, I
I
know
can't
enough
imagine.
about
I've
it.
never heard it melting you slowly.
No, and it's going to seek ground quickly.
That sounds more like radiation.
And
We would do that.
ding, ding, ding. Birthday Boy predicts the next path.
Oh,
we go
all
down.
right, Birthday
You
Boy.
guys are uncanny tonight.
Yeah, look at
are you
that.
sure we're not the psychic kryptonauts?
I might be a Christmas miracle.
Wow.
Chris is the Christmas miracle. He is our baby.
America's baby, the Christmas miracle.
He is our baby Jesus. We will swaddle him.
Oh, well, I
Dude,
swapped them anyway.
Christmas. Me.
Shit.
In other words, me.
Alone.
Christopher
In other
Charles.
words,
Christopher
me.
Charles Carnicelli. Charles Stores. Oh, whoa.
I think we went over, we did this one before, I think.
Yeah, I find that less uncanny.
All right, whatever.
Charles is a pretty common name.
Fine.
But I mean, if you need it to be a thing.
Continue.
Okay. Thanks.
That's more Nicole. She's like, I like Charlie. Okay, well, there it
you
is.
go.
Still others have wondered whether this might be a unique example of a phenomenon known as spontaneous human combustion. But if that is the case, it's one of the few incidents on record, there are some, to involve someone who survived the initial event, and it does nothing to explain the mysterious glowing orb that Philo claimed attacked him or his exceedingly slow demise.
Interesting side note, there is actually a story in my family of a family member years ago that died from a spontaneous human combustion.
How is this the fucking first time I know about
Because I think it's been debunked locally
Oh,
within
it's
our
just
family. I think we
malarkey.
figured out exactly what may have happened, but
this? Chain smoker in bed?
possibly in a chair. It's a weird thing. I'm actually going to do some digging into it. Because it's one of those things that always slips my mind, and I always want to bring it up. Like, hey, didn't we have someone in our family that died of spontaneous
It's
human
something
combustion?
you should look into, if only because you're part of the family. And if it is something that is, written in the DNA, written into it, you and your children might be in trouble.
I vaguely recall some debunking, but I will get back to everybody on that.
All right,
because
please
I'm
do.
going to see my grandfather, and he'll have all the answers for me. So there you go. Boom.
Now we're going to get on to Chris's prediction.
I don't want to catch on fire is what I'm saying.
Nobody does.
I'm just saying.
Like
it's
through
genetics.
internal or external means,
It's
being
genetics.
on fire
It's
sucks.
genetics. What if I'm genetically prone to catch on fire?
Wow.
Just drink some
Yeah.
water. Drink a lot of water.
All right, fine.
I don't know. Does that make a difference?
I don't know.
Water.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's why Chris is also our fire marshal.
How do you feel fire? Water.
Water.
Stupid.
Sand?
I'm scared.
You don't want to eat sand.
I'm scared.
No, not eat it.
Oh, so you swaddle yourself in sand
Okay.
Yes.
while
Sand
drinking
suit, yeah.
copious amounts of
Yeah.
water.
All right, I will.
You will never spontaneously combust, and your wife will
Do I
wonder
have to-
why you live in the sandbox.
Watch you guys 24/7
yes,
to
Pretty
make sure
much.
you don't kill yourselves or die
or
and not knowing how to save yourself.
spontaneously combust or debunk a family legend.
Okay, I'm there.
Fair enough.
I'll be there for
All
you.
right. I will get the debunking to everyone soon, or the truth.
The debunked truth.
The debunked truth.
One of the most intriguing theories regarding the fate of Philo comes to us from Dr. Luis Braga, who, while investigating the incident years after the fact, came to the conclusion that the victim's bizarre burns, in which the radiation apparently had an effect on living cells but not lifeless ones, such as hair and clothing.
Oh,
though I find
interesting.
that a little weird because
That's
I
weird.
think hair's alive, but whatever, were similar to, and this is a quote, the indirect effects of a nuclear explosion as occurred with certain victims of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. While mankind's first recorded use of an atomic weapon occurred over Hiroshima on August 6, 1944, there was nothing in the inventory of any of Earth's armies that could project an irradiated beam with such precision in 1946. And even if someone had the capability to do so, why would they waste such impressive technology on a farmer and family man from the backwaters of Brazil? Even if it were a test, one would think that a more deserving guinea pig, like, for example, an incarcerated death row inmate, would make more sense.
Sure.
Okay.
So, it's iffy, but radiation makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, a directed weapon does not, but the idea that he was exposed to something radioactive and that makes your shit all slow off.
Sure.
Again, I'm not an expert on radiation sickness
None of us
or
are.
post-Chernobyl shit. We just don't know. We're not going to pretend to know.
Chris is the closest we got.
I mean, Chris is the one's going to
How?
stop it from happening to us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean he's an expert. It just means
I don't know
he
if I
knows
can
more than
stop
us.
it, but
You have to, or we're
You
going
have
to
to.
be dead.
We're going to fucking
all right, I'll research it tomorrow.
Okay, good. Good.
For my birthday, I'll research how to save you guys from radiation.
Because you're a good boy. That's why.
I know.
See?
It's a little patronizing.
Why? Cause
You
he's a good
dogged him.
You're a good boy.
He is a good boy.
Let's just pet him right now.
No.
Let's just touch him
You're-
lovingly like a
you're-
master would.
You're a good boy, too.
I don't fall
Actually,
for that.
you're not. You're a bad boy.
Fuck you. You are not getting into my
really?
head with your dog ass bullshit.
You're out of the corner.
Good. I don't want crabs anymore. I didn't want
Come
crabs
to
for the
Scape
last
on
half
Town.
hour.
You're back.
Come to Pizza Scape on Town.
I'm already there. Pizza and Skabons?
No, you're back. You're back.
Come on.
Look. All right.
Reconsidering the killer UFO hypothesis, we can all agree that the thought of a technologically advanced race of malicious beings with little or no regard for human life is not a pleasant one. Yet so far it appears as if whomever or whatever it may be controlling these bizarre flying machines, the wholesale extinction of life on Earth is not their primary agenda. Still, as mentioned in the opening, violent encounters with UFOs are not unheard of. Another hypothesis states that, for reasons beyond our reckoning, entities not of our world, be they ethereal, interdimensional, alien, or
Ultra-terrestrials.
that's right, buddy, decided to target Philo. While bizarre, it smacks of an event that befell an equally impoverished Brazilian named Rivelino Mafra da Silva.
Oh, yeah.
I remember
that's
this
right.
one. Who was abducted by a pair of monochromatic vapor-emitting orbs on the eve of August 17, 1962, after witnessing a pair of tiny creatures burying something in his backyard. Philo lost his life after his brush with the unknown, while Rivelino was never seen again. It's likely that the myriad questions surrounding these cases will never satisfactorily be resolved. What is known is the fact that the family of Joao Prestes Philo refused to return to the site of the tragedy, literally abandoning their home.
Oh,
They're
wow.
fucking out.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, it's
Outies.
no burn, nothing there, but they're like, fuck that.
You have to be, really.
Yeah. Was it because they felt that the place was now cursed, or did others suffer sickness in the abode? Perhaps Philo's next of kin experienced the kind of illness that is now associated with radiation poisoning, but which at the time would likely have been confused with some sort of paranormal malady. That's pure speculation on my part, by the way.
Right, speculate away, good sir.
Sadly, Dr. Bueller reported that soon after Philo's death, the police condemned the house and it was demolished, potentially eradicating any trace evidence that may have lingered there.
And that's what they got to do, man. They got to come and cover it up.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but in 46, I mean,
Yeah.
there wasn't even a fucking Majestic 12 or
Yeah,
any
I
other
don't
shit.
feel. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there was a.
And Brazil's always been one of the more open countries.
No, dude, unless maybe it was some sort of military experiment gone awry, and they're like, we got to cover this shit up. This is all speculation.
You're right. We can go into a lot of
Okay.
Dyatlov style fucking
Just saying.
subpaths here.
Just saying. Just saying.
Okay. Over the decades, I've read about this sorrowful case in a handful of books and scores of websites, and the story has never been told in exactly the same way. But while there's been inconsistencies in the retelling of Philo's nightmarish ordeal, an understandable situation considering both the age and initial isolation regarding this case, almost all accounts agree on the relevant points. The first being that Philo was attacked by an unknown self-illuminated object or entity that projected some sort of heat beam toward him. The second agreed upon point is that his injuries came in the form of dreadful burns. And the third irrefutable fact is that the doomed farmer succumbed to these injuries just days later. We may never know whether this treacherous fireball constituted an alien attack, a paranormal manifestation, a military test, or a heretofore unknown natural phenomenon. But even with the discrepancies that have been passed down over the years regarding this grim tale, one thing is painfully clear. The tragic demise of the simple farmer was almost certainly caused by a flying object that remains, to this day, very much unidentified. And now the question we must ask ourselves is, if it happened once, can it happen again?
Oh, the death from above, the tragic case of the incredible melting man.
Watch the skies.
Literally, the title gives everything away about the story. I appreciate that. Though.
Yeah,
It's good.
that's a Japanese title.
Yeah.
You've got the whole thing.
You know, I was thinking
amazing,
it's funny.
amazing, awesome, super day, giant robot fights, kaiju.
I
There
almost
you go.
considered calling it the tragic case of Joab Prestes Philo. But then I thought, if I was just randomly looking at podcasts,
No,
would I be like,
right,
tragic
exactly.
case? Well, Death from Above's intriguing, but
Yeah.
who's this guy? But then I get Death from Above and a melting man. You know
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
is?
that's the deal.
It's not just my love of Japanese television and cinema. It's also my love of exploitation cinema. I
That's
thought,
true,
what
too.
would David Friedman do?
Yeah,
And I
there
just
you go.
put the most lurid title together.
Yeah, no, that
And
makes sense.
I know. I shot the wad. I gave the money shot in the fucking opening credits.
Sure did.
But sometimes that's the way it has to be.
We need time for exposition, good sir. Need time for it.
I probably approached it the wrong way.
It's okay. No, I think you did a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Interesting case.
It's a fascinating case.
The guy literally fucking gets hit with a beam from something in the sky and melts, as we just discussed with the title of this podcast.
Yes.
So
Well, yeah, supposedly.
the interesting thing here is that all of his injuries are above from his waist up, which made me think of that if he had some kind of bath going where he was had the fire under the tub getting it hot, if it got too hot and he accidentally tipped in, if he just burned the upper part of his body,
And was too embarrassed to tell anybody.
which would not though make him melt over a course of days, where he has advanced leprosy.
No, it
No,
probably
there's a-
wouldn't result. In
There's
that.
a
Is
lot
that a
of things.
song, Advanced Leprosy?
Well, now it is.
Death, right? Yeah, advanced leprosy.
No, it's
Of course.
Sure.
I was close.
there's not much that would make that happen. It seems terrestrially radiation would seem like that would be the closest thing that could do something like that.
I've got
If
to
it-
agree with Chris on that. I
If
can't
it's a
think of-
virus, what are the odds nobody else got it?
Well, yeah. If it's one of those
Right.
like a level 4 virus, like what?
if it was congenital, he wouldn't be.
I've
it wouldn't
never
be
heard
isolated.
of lightning doing a slow melt.
No.
Yeah, the slow melt is
it
the
doesn't make any
weirdest part.
sense. No, lightning.
Like, it
lightning will
basically-
burn you and leave. And it hits ground and it's gone.
He gets to the hospital sometime in the evening of the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
He's dead by the wee hours of the 6th. So all the 5th, he's just there, fucking just slopping away.
I mean, I guess there's a small chance it could be some sort of viral thing, but
I would think
maybe
that
he just had some weird fucking
Parasite.
susceptible to some sort of fucking weird thing, and it just fucking one and done.
I mean, but like you said previously, it sounds almost like radiation. But
What are the odds nobody else? I mean, it's not
Does
like
radiation-
something hits you and
Right.
it's just contained. I mean, you're still gonna radiate radiation.
Well, yes, that's true.
Well, yeah, you would
Not
be,
to say-
everyone around you would get like insta cancer.
Well, not
Well, maybe not.
necessarily.
Maybe not.
No.
I
You don't think
I
that
mean,
it would cause like crazy shit to happen
I feel like if
around
it's
you?
that,
Like,
they might have some sort of side effect. Maybe
okay,
something.
well, not
but-
like you instantly get tumors, but like eventually over time, the exposure to it.
Who's to say?
I don't know.
If the
knows?
exposure is that bad, it's melting your skin. People around you would definitely be adversely affected by it.
Well, here's the other thing. If you have a disease we know what happened to lepers. They got sent to fucking isolated colonies or drowned off the coast of California in John Carpenter's The Fog. There's only
Yeah.
two things that happened to fucking lepers back in the day.
Yeah.
If somebody has a disease where all their shit is melting off, people, I mean, even if a racy gomite is, going to hang out with him and pour water down his fucking gaping mouth hole, people are going to stay the fuck back.
Yeah.
It's an instinctive thing. Even doctors and nurses. I'll tell you a story. We talked about it even briefly in the opening thing. When I came back from South Africa, I got really sick one night. I was just partying with our buddies, and all of a sudden I had wicked stomach pain. So when I went to the hospital, they asked if I'd been out of the country. I'm like, yeah, I just got back from South Africa like a week ago.
And everyone went,
and then they're like, oh, were you sick there? And I said, yeah, I was quarantined for a few days. Everyone had masks. The CDC had to be called. Now, I wasn't doing anything but basically having a bellyache and shitting my pants. That was enough, and they should be alarmed.
Yeah, 100%.
No, they should be alarmed, and they did the right thing.
Well, yeah.
And I was okay, and everything was screened, and that was fine.
I mean, we're in the middle of the fucking the coronavirus.
Right.
So, yeah, like, take precautions, dude.
But my point is that this was, in the early 21st century. If this has happened at 46, a small town, local hospital, and you see this shit, you're going to be like, I can't fix this.
Well,
So you might do your best to make him comfortable. You might give him some painkillers, or
Right.
none of how they treated him is actually chronicled. But
No.
but I can see people,
yeah.
nurses, doctors, and even his family maybe staying by and keeping visual, but keeping a respectable distance, and that might have prevented other people, if it was radiation,
Right.
from being too profoundly affected by it.
okay. So,
They probably burned the bedding, the bed, everything. They
If
probably
it-
just tore everything out when he was gone.
I don't
Yeah.
necessarily know, like, how radiation burns work, though. So
Neither do I.
I don't
Don't
think
even
it's. I don't
invest.
think it's
I can
something
do
where you
really.
just slowly melt.
Well, let's
I mean, maybe you do. I don't
let's
know.
stop keeping ourselves in a terrestrial box here. If
Well, we
it
had to
really
go-
was extraterrestrial, say,
Okay.
of many examples, it might have been a form of energy that has some aspects that resemble, say, an intense exposure to
Right.
a high dose of radiation, but maybe not have all the same characteristics, like
Okay.
irradiating everything around or whatever else. So he might have, like, it might have just been, assuming it's a craft. I'm not even saying that's what I think it was, but assuming it was, and maybe it was just discharging some waste or letting go of cosmic ballast or who the fuck knows what, and it just happened to hit him, even though it seems like a direct attack. Then maybe it was just a fucking accident of rejected radiation or energy of sorts that we don't know.
So, sort of like how Travis Walton may have accidentally just been sucked up into that alien engine, and the aliens tried to, like, repair him.
That's what he believes.
Yeah. All right. Well. Okay. Yeah. So maybe it wasn't he. Maybe he wasn't targeted. Maybe you're right. Maybe he just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
There's just no way to know.
Like when the Dave Matthews Band dumped the shitter on their tour bus into the river. That was on purpose, though.
Yeah.
They purposely polluted that river.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's when the girl.
That's your Dave Matthews
don't-
corner. He's a terrible fucking person.
I will definitely not join you in that
He's
corner.
a terrible fucking person. So, yeah, I mean, I guess terrestrially speaking,
So terrestrially speaking, nothing still explains
no,
it.
nothing really.
Because even if it was radiation, what's this ball?
Right.
Why is it shooting a beam? How
Right.
could it shoot a beam? There's not.
Well-
I mean, unless there was
What I think what's more fascinating
old-timey
though,
helicopters. I don't even know what was going on in Brazil.
I
at
think
the
what's
time.
more fascinating though is that the area is apparently known for having these weird, entities or
It's
whatever.
like the
that are-
Ohio of Brazil.
Yeah, seriously, seriously. So that's kind of interesting though because you do have context for things happening.
Like Louise Presti said himself that, I loved his, statement about the window
Yeah.
that gelled in our minds or whatever the fuck he said.
Right.
But the idea that this area has UFOs and this horrific death and chupacabra and other cryptids and ghosts and fucking, what was it, golden dragons and
Yeah,
all
whatever,
sorts of
yeah.
ill
The
shit.
Golden Mother. Yeah, maybe, if this is some sort of kind of like how Skinwalker Ranch is like an epicenter for all this type of weird, paranormal and cryptid and ufological stuff, maybe this is Brazil's Skinwalker Ranch where there's just a weird area where strange shit happens.
I would put it out to any of our Brazilian listeners if they have access to more information of shit that might have gone on there.
Yeah.
Please send it up because I would love to do a follow-up just on the place.
So do we think it's terrestrial, paranormal, or extraterrestrial, or as we call it, the Ghost Rider Demon?
Yes, indeed.
All right.
It's tough. I'm actually, and this is a place I don't often go. In this case, it seems like paranormal offers us at least the most diverse options. And by paranormal, I mean, you call it paranatural, paraphysical, parapsychological. There's a lot of fucking ways to put it. It doesn't necessarily just mean crazy ass magic shit. It could just be an unexplained phenomenon that isn't necessarily extraterrestrial and isn't necessarily demonic, and certainly can't be explained through traditional credible means.
Right.
It's just some weird ass shit. Because if it's a tiny UFO, like it was described as just this fucking orb. And now, could it be something huge that was super high up and something tiny that was 12 feet up? Yeah, we just don't know. It's easy to fall into the extraterrestrial hypothesis with this because it's in the sky, it's glowing, and it has some sort of beam-like thing. And I don't blame people that want to sway that way. But to me, that's a little too pat. It's a little too like put it in that box instantly because it ticks off a few of the earmarks of that phenomenon. It's certainly not anything terrestrial. So in my mind, I don't think, that there's like flaming snakes necessarily or other things. I think these are just ways of describing unknowable, natural, or in this case, preternatural phenomenon.
If this is some sort of like weird interdimensional interloper, they happen to just pop in, like we were talking, maybe it's, maybe it wasn't an attack, but maybe it was just the guy happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong... It just seems like a weird way, like, why would you... Then again, he was attacked previously in his life.
He was...
So maybe he was a target. I guess I got to take that theory off the table because he was previously attacked. So he apparently fucked up somewhere.
Yeah, but he's...
I mean, I'm just saying, like...
Man...
So,
all right, well,
but why then? Like,
I don't know. Maybe it was.
That's
back
a
to the family
long
curse?
story agenda. You're
could
assuming
be. It could be. Yeah, it could maybe. The family curse seems a lot to put on an entire family.
The fucking dude saw a werewolf and a ball,
but
and
maybe it
dragon.
just is because of where they live. Maybe they are just adjacent to some weird fucking area where this shit is drawn to, or where this shit comes through,
or just tectonic plates that are shifting frequently and we get a lot of ball lightning and other electrical phenomenon, and that this other thing happens to resemble it, but isn't necessarily caused by it.
Ball lightning will not make you melt.
Agreed.
You don't
I'm
know
talking
that.
about the random
I do
balls
know that.
of flame
No, you
you see
don't.
above the cemetery.
I do.
how.
Any type of a lightning or electricity, it will seek ground immediately. So it would just, boom, ground. That's it. Everyone saw the awesome video on the internet of the ball of lightning going across the tracks in China, and guess what? It was CGI.
100% that was
It was
CGI.
debunked. I didn't know that it was. I was amazed.
How did you not know that
I
was
thought that
fucking
it was
CGI?
I thought that it was legit.
That's why I can't trust what you just said.
That electricity seeks ground?
Yeah.
Well, then it has to say that's how electricity works. It's not me. I'm not making that up. Electricity will seek ground.
If
That's what
he's
it does.
fucking grounded, then it would.
It would
not,
just shoot through.
If it found a way to the ground, it would go through him. Right, but if he had rubber soles,
It would exit. Well, if it was through his finger, then it would exit. Possibly, it would just found the quickest way. Yeah, so it wouldn't necessarily go through his foot. It could go. It could come in his head, out his arm. It could
which
go,
would contain it.
Wearing his waders,
or it would go through his hand. If it goes across your heart, you're dead. So if it goes through his hand and now his hand,
Not
is
necessarily.
toast.
People live. People have lived.
Okay, people have lived. We all know people that
I
have
would
lived.
think though
I
that
still
there
think it's lightning.
would be some
Okay.
blemish on a wall or something. Yeah, that's why I don't think
something.
it's lightning.
Yeah,
But still,
possibly. All right.
All right,
So,
so
I'm saying
we-
interdimensional weapon.
We agree. God damn it.
We good?
National
We're good? All right,
weapon.
thanks for joining us. Kryptonite
Wow.
Podcast. Happy birthday, Chris. Rob,
no, I don't
suck
think
it.
it's that.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry. Continue.
Wow.
I don't think it's a ghost weapon.
A ghost
Ghost
weapon? Oh,
weapon.
a ghost
I
weapon.
mean, it could be Nazis.
Good. Oh,
God
how do
damn
we
it.
fucking forget the
fucking-
Nazis?
It's pretty obvious.
boy.
I mean, it's not Argentina, but
It's
No, but it
pretty
is
obvious.
46.
yeah, that's prime time for Nazis getting the
That's
fuck
what
out
I'm
of Dodge.
saying.
Yeah.
You got the bell. You're fucking up.
Fucking Nazi bad
Hey,
guy. God
you are
damn
fucking
it.
up. You're doing all things are
See?
happening.
You thought I was being disparaging when I said he's a good boy. He's a goddamn good boy.
Fucking
He
Nazis.
knows his shit.
It's still a horrible way to
It's
address
not.
a friend.
It's how I tell my son, you're a good boy, Charlie.
Yeah,
you're
it's
a
your
good boy.
fucking son.
Yeah, what if I think Chris is my son?
Okay.
What if I think you're my son?
Listen,
You're both
all
my
right,
sons.
We're gonna all get therapy.
Well,
together.
no,
It'll be fun.
we can't be because me and Rob are clearly married.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's what you guys are married.
and
Shit.
older than you. So
Fine. All right.
all of that's negated.
Yeah.
Listen.
Right out the gate.
Time doesn't matter. We're fine. I'm your father. Enjoy.
What if
Okay, it's a
the
continuum.
Nazis
It's a continuum.
found a way to tap into this ethereal world where the membrane was so thin and confiscated ghost weapons, which they were trying to use to create a Fourth Reich.
Is this a Hellboy
And
fucking
they were
theory?
running tests on just the locals because I said in the article, like, why would somebody pick on this poor guy? But Nazis don't give fucks. Nazis will just kill anyone if it's part of like getting to the end agenda.
Because they're fucking filthy Nazis.
So Nazis using ghost weapons, killing locals. Maybe it got out of hand. Maybe it killed the person that was actually utilizing the weapon too. Maybe they found it was too dangerous and that's why they never used it again. But they're still collaborating with ghosts. But because time is different in the ethereal world, they think it's like 1952 and they're ready to strike. And they don't realize that like fucking 70 fucking years plus have passed and that they got to fucking get cracking if they really want to start doing something about it. And then we'll fuck them up again.
I like
America.
This is better than the last... because America. This is better than the last Hellboy movie.
It is.
That's
not saying much.
Not the Del Toro version, but the one with fucking Hopper in it. I mean, I think Chris might be onto something with the Nazis. That would explain the terrestrial angle and a weapon. I like your idea that they're harnessing interdimensional ghost energy or whatever.
Which
That's
is just
cool.
not as big of fun.
No, because they're, if you remember the Vril Society,
I do.
do you remember what they were trying to do?
Capture Vril energy?
Exactly. Because that was the shit that they were going to use.
So you think this is a Vril energy incident?
No, but you are onto something. You are in the correct ballpark, good sir.
Oh, I mean,
you are totally
if you
there.
can't associate Nazis instantly with misusing the paranormal,
That's
then you weren't raised in the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's what they do.
It's just what
clearly.
happens.
Yeah. So, all right. So maybe Vril energy, Vril society, technology gone awry, targeted. Maybe not even targeted. Maybe just caught in the blast.
Oh, wow.
Like the RPG blast.
Yeah,
of ghost tech.
I feel like they didn't do. I think it was a one and done, if anything.
Oh, yeah. Like I
Right.
say, maybe
They
the
didn't harness anything.
backlash
It was like, oh,
was
this
so
this
bad
happened.
that they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't do this one again. Maybe they were even somewhat less evil Nazis, though it's a weird misnomer.
No, they're all evil.
And they thought the village was going to be completely abandoned because of Carnival, and they had no idea Ja would be home.
Really?
No, they killed him on purpose.
Yeah,
Oh, we're going to
100%.
go to the village. We won't kill everyone, and then so sorry, and then they fucking leave.
All right, wow.
Nailed the German.
Jesus Christ,
I have a
dude.
terrible German
that
accent.
was the fucking worst thing that
We
ever
have
happened.
German friends, and
My-
I don't want to offend them.
My ears got cancer.
No, you didn't, because I don't know what you just said. You offended me.
Do your best German. Do your best German.
No,
Yeah.
can't top that.
I can come on, do it.
Fuck you.
That was better than his.
All right, so it's Nazis. It's always
It's not-
fucking
yeah, it's
Nazis.
Nazis.
Every time I think of German, I think of Rudiger and Klaus. Rudiger and Klaus.
What is that?
It's from a Kevin Smith podcast from back in the day with Ralph Garman. Anyway, that's my point for terrible German.
So we got
things.
ghost Nazis using alien technology
Yep.
from beyond the ethereal plane, using it to reinforce their Fourth Reich, not realizing, because they're only 2 years older, that decades have passed, and they're actually caught in the fucking mirror zone or wherever the fuck
All right, the mirror
General
realm.
Zod
yeah.
got fucking
Oh,
snagged.
the Phantom Zone.
The Phantom
Yes.
Zone?
It's basically the Phantom Zone where they are working on this tech. They don't realize what's going on. Time passes differently. They're fucked. They're going to come back to Earth when it's like a dead husk, and they'll be like, "Ah!" And that was a better German accent than you did.
Yeah, that was still better.
We are. Never even do it. I won't even fucking do it because it's my impression is terrible. Whatever. It's fine. We are back.
Whoa.
You like that?
You should
No.
have stopped with
End
that.
the fucking pod.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You're ruining his birthday.
Yeah, that was terrible.
God,
All right, so I think in closing, maybe we're all leaning more towards the paranormal angle of this than necessarily than the UFO angle.
When Chris said Nazis, I don't think I'm the one that threw all the paranormal shit in there.
Yeah.
but
I don't believe that's.
if-
I mean,
but if
I'm
it
not
was-
speaking
but
for
he
him,
mentioned the Nazi bell,
which is
It's still not,
technology.
yeah, it's still not paranormal.
the Vril Society.
That
You
you said
mentioned-
that.
It's all tied together. They're all fucking terrible.
Johnny
Nazis.
Umbrella.
I didn't talk about
All right, be
extraterrestrials.
honest.
first
Doesn't
of all.
matter.
You and I brought the paranormal into this.
That's fine.
Chris just thinks it's
Whatever.
fucking Nazis.
I think it's completely interdimensional, but whatever.
Of course, you always do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When is it
I,
not?
oddly
When
enough,
is it
agree
not?
with both of you and just added Ghost.
Okay. Cool. Sweet.
Mine is a jambalaya
Yeah.
of all sorts of fucked up shit.
All right.
And somehow the chupacabras are involved, and they didn't come out of the fucking void until some decades later. But
OG
I'll work the
Choops.
math out on that.
Yeah, the old
later.
school
Real
troops.
troops.
Totally.
Yeah, oh yes, legit choops.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the kangaroo spiky backed winged choops. Maybe that was the first infantry of the new fucking Fourth Reich, but they were just too uncontrollable and had no allegiance to Hitler.
All
They
right.
just really wanted to eat goats.
That could be.
Yeah, there it is.
That's all their job was.
So as usual, fucking we don't know. There it is.
No, but you know what?
mean,
It's terrifying.
yeah, we don't
Rest
really
in
know.
peace.
Yeah.
Joao. I
terrible.
hope I'm saying your name right.
It's terrible way to fucking go.
You know, I hope you found a better afterlife.
Yeah,
Because
seriously.
that's a fucking. You know, you're just fishing, and all you want to do is get in the house, take a bath, and eat your goddamn stewed fish.
Yeah.
And this.
Not melt.
2 days of nightmare.
Yeah.
Where everyone you love, the ones that can stand to look at you, are looking at you like sidelong and they're like, "No, man, we love you."
Yeah.
Yeah, because your eyelids fell off and
When
your
eyes fall-
jaws
And then what
falling
do you do?
off.
You got to die right after that. If the moment I can't blink, kill me.
No, man. Someone's got to come like a little wipe and wipe your eyeball for you. Yeah, that sucks.
This is
Remember that.
horrible.
Now you've completely fucked everything.
Yeah.
I can't get that feeling
Exactly.
out of my
Yeah.
mind's eye now. Just
Doot, doot.
stop.
All right.
Oh my God.
There you have it. Thank you all so very much for joining us for the Kryptonaut Podcast. HellerSpace.com. Get that merch. There will be a sale next month, so always buy stuff when it is on sale. Even though Chris is correct, we do get a better cut when things are not on sale. But we were not here for the better cut.
No.
I mean,
thought
we
you
are.
said we didn't though.
I lied and I had misinformation.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not good with these type of things. I didn't realize we had different types of shirts until recently. So check that out there, hellerspace.com. 5 new designs. T-shirts, hoodies, long sleeves, pins, totes, magnets, buttons, all kinds of fun stuff happening over there. Check that out. patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 will get you a shout out, and $5 will get you a shout out and some bonus audio.
Dope.
The Instas, the Twitters, and the Facebooks. Hit us up on the socials. Share your theories. Our Facebook group, which is fun, is the only reason I'm still on Facebook. Shout outs to Robert Thompson for keeping that shit alive and going because
Totally.
Facebook is just a fucking nightmare. But our fan group's super cool.
Yeah.
There's super
agreed.
fun memes and shit, and
That's
everyone's like
pretty
cool.
much all I do on Facebook now.
Yeah, no,
And
same
not even
here.
that often, I admit. But
Yeah.
still, when I do, that's it.
Yeah, I just go there to check out our group, so it's cool. So thank y'all for participating over there. I believe that's going to do it. So thank y'all so very much, and we'll be talking to you soon.
This is one of those rare, great cases of hell and space.
Oh,
There it
No,
is.
see, there you go.
we'll be talking to you.
All right, bye.
Yeah. This is hell and space. God bless y'all. But, you know,
Continue, Robert, please.
Yeah, continue with my melting present.
Yeah.
It's just
Worst ice cream cake ever.
oh my God, it would be too.
This is the worst carnival cake.
And,
Oh.
and even worse, the worst thing about it would be it would have to be Neapolitan ice cream to do
God,
it justice.
you can't
And that's
even-
the worst fucking kind.
Just imagine a cookie puss all fucking all ruined. Just ruinous. It's like,
Oh my
cookie
gosh.
puss.
Well, my birthday's in July, so if
Oh.
anyone
It
wants
would
to
be like
mangle a
opening up
cookie
the
puss-
ark, like in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
faces.
You open up the cake, it's just like, thanks.
The incredible melting cookie puss. No one's gonna get the cookie puss reference.
If they're
Our-
familiar
most
with
of-
Carvel,
most of our listeners are
If you're
younger.
over 40, you'll
Yeah, no.
you'll get it.
yeah. If
We have a
you're,
lot
I guess,
of-
if you're our age and live somewhere in the Northeast.
We've got a lot of young listeners.
All right, so it was an ice cream shop that had ice cream cakes long before anyone else.
Cookie puss.
You're welcome. Now you don't even need to Google
Fudgy
it.
the whale.
Fudgy the whale.
Just Google cookie puss. All right, Robert. Cookie
take
puss.
it on.
Take it.
on our
All right.
word.
Cookie puss.
Google cookie
The
puss.
fuck was cookie puss?
It's just a face, I
It's like
think,
the
made
same
of cookie.
No, but it was like what, like grimace. Like what is a grimace?
No,
it's fucking a
it's
cookie puss.
puss.
It's just a shape, like this
Yeah,
weird
it's, there it
nebulous
is.
shape.
Cookie puss.
Puss.
As a kid, I saw it and died. I'm like,
Fucking-
oh my god,
Yeah,
cookie
I know.
puss.
It's cookie.
I knew what
puss.
it was.
But puss is an old timey reference for face. You
Yeah,
guys
but not
do
when
know
you're
that.
fucking,
Yeah, I know.
Not when you're a kid,
Not when
yeah.
you're 9 and you're
well-
like, oh, I know what a puss is.
I there were kids that are like, I want cookie puss.
All right, we got to stop.
This
with
is so
cookie.
dumb.
We're stupid. Here we go.
Back to the excruciating agony.
Cookie puss.
The nightmarish ordeal.
Oh, I can't
and we're
get
laughing
past
about
it.
goddamn ice cream cake.
All right.